December 2004. I think the Associated Newspapers barrister was really trying to use that article as a way of suggesting that actually it was Prince Harry's friends who were leaking some of this information to the press, and that actually the source was the Palace press office, because all along within this case, Prince Harry is accusing them of using unlawful means to try and gain information from him. In his written statement, it also comes across loud and clear this sense that for him, this isn't just a personal crusade. He wants to do this for the wider social good. And of course, this is something we've heard from him quite a lot over the years. But in that written statement, he says there is obviously a personal element to bringing this claim, motivated by truth, justice and accountability. But it's not just about me. He says if the most influential newspaper company can successfully evade justice, then in my opinion, the whole country is doomed. But also it was the end of his time in the witness stand that was particularly moving in many ways. His own barrister saying to him, "How do you feel now about what Associated Newspapers did to you?" And he said, in the course of this litigation, it has only got worse, not better. I think it is fundamentally wrong to put all of us through this again when all we were asking for was an apology and accountability. It is a horrible experience, and the worst of it is sitting up here and taking a stand against them, and they continue to come after me. He then went on to say, as his voice cracked and he appeared close to tears, "They've made my wife's life a misery." Now, this court case is due to go on for the next 9 weeks. As the judge pointed out to Harry, it will be up to his barrister to continue to make his point in court.
What unfolded in that courtroom wasn't simply an emotional moment from a royal under pressure. What we witnessed was the curtain being pulled back on a system that has functioned unchecked for decades. A system where powerful media institutions operate with near impunity, shielded by influence, tradition, and an assumption that they will never truly be held to account. Prince Harry's evidence in this case goes far beyond personal hurt. It forces a confrontation with how power really works in Britain, where tabloids shape narratives, reputations are collateral damage, and truth often becomes negotiable. This trial matters because it exposes something much bigger than one man's pain. One of the most telling moments in this case comes from the legal tactics used against Harry. Rather than addressing the core allegations, unlawful information gathering, covert surveillance, and invasive practices, the defence attempted to redirect responsibility. The suggestion was simple, but loaded. Maybe the stories didn't come from illegal methods at all. Maybe they came from inside Harry's own world. The implication was that friends, aides, or palace machinery itself could have been the source. It's a familiar move. If the media can cast doubt on the origin of information, they weaken the entire case without having to disprove the conduct itself. But Harry's written evidence dismantles that suggestion with clarity. He makes it plain that this is not about wounded pride or personal scores. It's about patterns repeated invasions that only make sense when unlawful methods are considered. This wasn't accidental reporting. It was systematic. And Harry is clear. If this behaviour is allowed to continue unchallenged, then the concept of accountability in British journalism becomes meaningless. What stands out most in Harry's testimony is not anger, but purpose. He consistently frames this legal action as something bigger than himself. His argument is simple. If major media organisations can bypass the law without consequence, then everyone is at risk, not just public figures. This isn't about a celebrity demanding special treatment. It's about a citizen demanding equal protection under the law. Harry repeatedly emphasises that unchecked press power damages democracy itself. When newspapers become judge, jury and executioner, operating without transparency, public trust erodes. This is why his case resonates. He isn't asking for sympathy, he's asking for standards, and that distinction matters. There was a moment near the end of Harry's evidence that stripped away all legal language and exposed the raw human reality underneath. He was asked how he felt now, years later, having endured this process, this exposure, this prolonged confrontation. His response was devastatingly honest. Instead of relief, he described escalation. Instead of closure, continued attacks. Instead of accountability, repetition. He explained that what hurt most wasn't just the original intrusion, but being forced to relive it again and again in order to seek justice. And then he spoke about Meghan. He said that the relentless media pressure made her life unbearable. That sentence alone explains everything. This case isn't abstract. It's not academic. It's about what happens when misinformation, intrusion and hostility become someone's daily reality. Harry's experiences don't exist in a vacuum. During his testimony, he pointed to previous relationships and how media intrusion affected them. One former partner, he explained, felt constantly pursued, watched, cornered. The language he used, hunted, shaken, reveals the severity of that pressure. This is not normal scrutiny. This is not public interest journalism. It's a culture that treats private lives as commodities. And Harry is uniquely positioned to expose it because he has lived through it since childhood. Another uncomfortable aspect of this case is what it suggests about internal dynamics within royal institutions. When stories repeatedly appear with remarkable precision, the question arises, who benefits and who enables it? Harry's case hints at a broader ecosystem where silence, complicity and selective protection play a role. It raises the possibility that some members are shielded while others are sacrificed. And that, perhaps, is one of the most difficult truths this trial forces into the open. Critics are eager to reduce this to celebrity litigation. That framing is convenient and misleading. This case challenges how journalism operates at the highest levels. It asks whether influence grants immunity, whether public figures deserve fewer rights. If Harry succeeds, it sends a clear message. No institution is above the law. That precedent matters far beyond royalty. Behind every headline is a family. Harry is not just a duke on a witness stand. He is a husband trying to protect his wife, a father trying to create safety for his children, a son shaped by loss and relentless exposure. When he speaks about the damage done to Meghan, it isn't dramatics, it's testimony. The tears seen in court were not weakness, they were evidence. This case will continue for weeks. More evidence will emerge, more arguments will be tested. But something has already shifted. The narrative is no longer about a sensitive prince. It's about whether powerful media companies can be challenged at all. And for the first time in a long time, that question is being taken seriously. Harry's decision to persist with this case, knowing the personal cost, reflects something deeper than defiance. It reflects belief. Belief that truth matters, that accountability is possible, that silence only benefits those with power. This courtroom has become a space where long-standing assumptions are finally being questioned. Prince Harry didn't take the stand for attention. He did it because the alternative was acceptance. Acceptance that intrusion is inevitable, that harassment is normal, that power excuses misconduct. By speaking, he refused that narrative. This case isn't about the past alone. It's about the future, about setting boundaries, restoring dignity, and demanding responsibility from institutions that have gone unchecked for too long. For Meghan, for their children, for anyone who has ever been silenced by a headline. Justice isn't guaranteed, but it is worth pursuing. And that, ultimately, is what makes this moment so significant.